Bridge Master Sign Program. Sarah is going to do the presentation.
Hello again, Commissioners. So I'll be presenting on the East Bay Bridge Master Sign Program this evening. This is the East Bay Bridge Center. It's just across the street over here. Whoa, I keep having that problem. I'm sorry. Let's try that again. So it's just across the street, bordered by 40th Street on the north, San Pablo on the east. And there's a little bit of cutout section. The residential along 40th is not part of this. So Master Sign Program is required for all developments with 5 or more retail tenant spaces, and it creates standards for tenant signage, establishing maximum allowable sign area, defining permitted sign materials, allowed sign types, but it doesn't dictate content of the actual signs. So East Bay Bridge Center has been there for quite some time now, so why are we looking at this now? Because, as you might recall, back in July, there was the East Bay Bridge facade improvement that was approved here, DR 14003. And as a condition of that approval, it was for a master sign program. Prior to issuance of a building permit, the applicant shall apply for a new master sign program that encompasses the entirety of the East Bay Bridge Shopping Center. And that's because, as you look in this slide here, on the left-hand side is an existing facade of Pacific Sales. The master sign program was created, did not contain a lot of detail, and showed this example for that same facade as CompUSA, which dates itself right there. And now, with the new facade, obviously what's on top is not relevant anymore. And if you look in the bottom right-hand corner, this is the new master sign program reflecting the facade changes and providing far more direction than the old master sign program. So even though all the facades haven't changed, it does need to encompass the entire project. So something that's not included in the current master sign program is temporary signs. This one includes temporary signs to clarify where they can be located and provide guidance on size. It's consistent with the planning regulations. It also provides guidance on business information signs, which is not addressed in the existing master sign program. So another aspect of this is that it includes the existing and permitted shopping center signage that's there. So those are the 2 tower signs and also the pergola signs in 2 locations. However, in this version, it does provide more information than the last master sign program also. So it provides a little bit more details about the materials and specifics of the sign areas that we had to actually go back and look at different building permits to get this information. So this is all in one place now. The master sign program provides a list of all of the current tenants, their addresses, so as things change over time, you'll still know where we're talking about. And in the red column here, it's the maximum square footage of signage per tenant. And that's consistent with the master sign program and sometimes stricter than, let me step back. This master sign program, the permitted square footage is consistent with the planning regulations, which has a maximum of 1 square foot per linear foot of frontage. And in some cases, it's more restrictive than that. So here's the site plan. The application breaks it down into different areas. So anchor tenants, that would be the existing Target and Home Depot. The major tenants are located in the southeast corner here. It's broken up for easy reference. Wall signs are something that's permitted for all tenants. It's the main way tenants can have signage. And here's demonstrated several different types of wall signs that are permitted in this plan. Window signs are also permitted for all tenants, and there's some examples here as well. An example of tenant signage here, each tenant or tenant group has its own page. It includes an actual site plan showing the frontage that's being counted for the tenant. It includes a key map and where the tenant is in the shopping center area. It includes a key that outlines how the signage is calculated and what is permitted, and also elevations. The pink always shows the permitted area the sign can be in, while the yellow is just an example of what the sign location could be like within that. Here's an example of a tenant that does not just have wall signs or window signs permitted. This one also has a tower sign. This is existing Michael's space. And so let's see, another example is Target. They have tower sign and monument sign as well. So it's just added to the key here, listing the different sign types, but they're still limited to a certain amount of square footage based on their frontage. So it's giving the tenant the option of which type of sign they want to use within that limited amount of square footage. So for master sign program findings, one needs to promote visual harmony, and this does provide guidance on materials, lighting, location, and sign size to be consistent throughout the shopping center. Secondly, it needs to relate well to the building and be compatible with the architecture. And so while there's a theme throughout the complex, the buildings are quite different, and this relates to each tenant space is addressed specifically. Third, the character with the surroundings. The quality materials and the size of signs are consistent with the visual character of the area. It is a regional retail shopping district. Fourth, the total aggregate sign area needs to be consistent with the planning regulations, which we've already discussed that it is. And the permitted signage is no more than necessary. Once again, it's consistent with the planning regulations, and in some cases is more restrictive. And lastly, the master sign program must comply with Emeryville planning regulations, which it is. So required findings for signs: it's consistent with the general plan, it respects existing architecture, it conforms to the Emeryville design guidelines with unified building facades, integrating elements of architectural compatibility, providing for visible and readable signs, and of high design quality that will not adversely affect the surrounding area. All illuminated signs are required to be dimmable. So staff does recommend approval for this project. I'm available for questions. The applicants do not have a presentation tonight, is that correct? But they are here to answer any questions. So Jeff Adams is there we go, is the project manager, and he's here to introduce the rest of his team as well. So,
Are there any questions for Sarah?
I'm just wondering, are there any I mean, just walking through this, and I didn't, frankly, honestly, I didn't walk through or drive through and look at every single location.
not every single tenant?
Yeah. So just, are there places in locations possibly in this new master sign program where they're showing signs to be allowed that previously were not included within the master sign program?
No, it's actually, I'd say, more restrictive. It's more specific. If you give me a moment, I'll provide an example of that for you. Let me escape out of here. Sorry, there's going to be some clicking. So this is an example here. This is Target. So there's building frontage along streets on each side. That counts all towards the sign area that's calculated, what's permitted. So it cannot exceed 1,400 square feet. However, no signage is permitted on the north side of the building explicitly because it is not very viewable, and they have a tower there that can be seen from the bridge. So this wasn't specified before, and it's something that's specified and more restrictive now. Another example, this is Home Depot, and the frontage is 559 feet. So normally under the planning regulations, you'd have up to 559 square feet of signage, but this is more restrictive. It's about 385 square feet of signage that's permitted here, and that's based on what the existing signage is, to not be too excessive, and it doesn't allow for signs on other sides of the building because while you could put them there, it's not a very good use of resources. They wouldn't be very visible. So let's just keep it clean from the get-go.
So the tower, like the tower at Target already exists?
Yes.
Okay.
This is an existing photo right here.
Got it. And what is so yeah, I guess one thing I was trying to understand is why Target would have no signage on 40th, but then another, I think it was P1.
P1 and P2.
Show the potential for signage there.
Right. That's because where Target is in 40th is where the bridge comes down.
Uh-huh.
So it's just, you have the bridge coming down, it's not very visible, and you have the whole way the tower is designed is to be catching people's eyes as they come over that bridge. Whereas the pad tenants, P1, P2, further east on 40th Street, they are visible from the public right-of-way on 40th. And one of them also has a tower sign, actually, if we would like to go over there. Doo-doo.
Yeah, Michael's does, I guess.
Yeah,
Okay.
That's what we were just looking at. So they have the tower there, and there it's specified, that they have to be facing to the east and the west, not north and south on that sign.
And then the pergola, does the lighting, are there currently lit signs hanging off the pergola on
Yes.
San Pablo?
Yes. There's not all, I don't think all of them are in place currently, but yes, there are.
Okay.
So there's nothing out there now that wouldn't be allowed under this, right?
Haven't gone through and calculated it, but I think maybe Pack and Save might need to have a little less signage under this. It's a little bit more picking and choosing. Target also, because they have the options of including all of these sign areas, right? But if you add them all up together, it'd be more than the permitted sign area. So it gives you a little bit of flexibility. What does that tenant think is best for them without dictating exactly what those choices have to be?
But I would just say that if this master sign program is approved, that doesn't mean that they have to go back and retroactively remove any signs that don't conform to it. And those would be grandfathered. But in the future, if the signage changes or the tenants change, then they would have to conform to this.
Which is the purpose of the master sign program.
Correct. And of course, this probably goes without saying, but it streamlines the process in the future for staff and the applicant, where a sign that might require Planning Commission approval on its own, if it conforms to a master sign program that the Planning Commission has approved, then the individual signs don't have to come back to the Commission.
All right, so I understand the applicant does not have a presentation, but wants to come up and introduce your team.
Good evening. My name's Jeff Adams. I'm Senior Project Manager with Martin Potts Associates. We're managing the remodel of the whole center for the owner, Federal Realty. And I got to commend you for the park. That was a great thing to sit through. Parks have really changed since I was a kid. I'm telling you, trees back then were the climbing structure. And playground equipment was all stainless steel, which made it really fun in the summer. So I just want to introduce our team so that you know we have people from different expertises if you have questions. So first I'd like to introduce Rachel Richards, who is our regional property manager. So she actually manages the center. So if you have any operational type questions, she can answer that. We have Michael Strauss, who is the director of development, who is kind of the overseer of the whole project. And then of course we have Milton Solomon with ADS, who his staff worked directly with Sarah, who did a fantastic job putting this whole thing together. It's such a much more user-friendly document than the one that we've been using before. And since your staff's the one that has to use it, I think they did a great job to streamline efforts. So we're here for answering questions if you need them.
Thank you. Are there any questions for the applicant? Okay, and then I will open the public comment. Is there anyone wishing to speak on this item? Okay, seeing none, I'll close the public hearing and take it back to discussion.
I would move approval.
Any other discussion points before?
I mean, one thing I was just wondering about is, so Charlie, right now, if somebody wants a temporary sign for opening or closing or a sale, that goes through staff, is that?
That's right. And there are standards in the planning regulations for temporary signs. In this case, they would be superseded by what the master sign program says.
And does P1, so P1 currently does not exist? Is that, or is there a?
That's Panera.
Oh, that's Panera, okay. And do they currently have a lit sign facing 40th Street?
Yes.
I believe so.
They do.
Which, by the way, the entire project, I believe, including this existing signage, was approved by the Planning Commission several years ago.
Okay. I have no other questions.
Okay.
I would second Buzz's motion.
Anything ready to vote?
Yep, we're ready.
All right. Commissioner Cardoza?
Aye.
Commissioner Donaldson?
Aye.
Commissioner Gunkel?
Aye.
Commissioner Keller?
Aye.
Commissioner Coomerly?
Aye.
And Vice Chair Tan.
Aye.
6 ayes, the application is approved. This decision may be appealed to the City Council within 15 days.
Thank you. Very clear.
Thanks for speeding that one up, guys.
That was a short break.
Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't get as long as one as I did.
Let's see if you can do as good a job for the
I
next
could have taken a nap.
one. All right.